Hello and welcome to the Hockey Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ryan Gilbert. Joining me is my co-host, Joel Meyer. Joel, how are we doing tonight?
Fairly well. Glad that the weekend is here. Got a lot more football going on, including a few games on right now. First of all, the Bombers, of course, they get the main screen. They're going for their eighth straight win in a row. So yeah, they're dominating. They're only up 7 now against the Tiger Cats, who've also been on fire. But also, I got Houston plus 17.5. They're winning outright, 24-6. So that one should be good at the half there. Yeah, other than that, they're pretty good. We're waiting for the UNLV Rebels to take on the Syracuse Orange. Got the Rebels at a good number, and hopefully they come through. And yeah, Syracuse team total under as well. Or no, the win total under. Yeah, pretty good night so far. Fuck you, Smitty. He's saying those Syracuse.
Yeah, wasn't there like an upset in college football last Friday too, or like last week sometime?
Friday. There's always a few upsets.
No, I think it was the Syracuse playing.
Syracuse.
Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know either.
Whatever. We had hockey today. We had actual NHL hockey today.
We did.
Devils getting it done. The 4-1 win did not go over, but we were both on the Devils, I believe. So that was a relatively easy win. You know, Mark
everyone in the chat was on the Sabres. I don't get it. They don't listen to us.
No, they look at the betting splits and see what team is published.
Yes,
so yeah, I mean, yeah. Sabres outshot him 31-23. Markstrom had a few good saves. So he had a paddle save on the goal line on Nicholas Aube-Kubel, former Avalanche and Flyers great there. And Jack Hughes.
Look at the game state though. When it was tied, the Devils were at least as good as the Sabres. Like a lot of that shit happened in the third period.
Yeah, I saw people post the deserve to win a meter on Twitter already. It's already getting out there. But yeah, Devils showed up. Jack Hughes, no points. Heischer goal. Stefan Nason had a goal. Paul Cotter had an empty netter and an assist. So Devils look deep. They have a goalie now, and they got to win. So good start for New Jersey there. Not as good of a start for Buffalo, but they'll be right back at it Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern, just in 13 hours here. So see who goes there.
Yeah, high on both teams, and glad to see that Markstrom is immediately in form because he's had a habit of having a tough start sometimes, especially with a new team. So that's a great sign because we got him for Vezina. He's still the same price, 14-1 at BetOnline right now. So there's a tip.
Yeah, that's definitely a good look because he should be getting a lot of wins with the Devils there. So that's what voters look at for the Vezina. All right, we're going to finish up our NHL team previews with the top half of the Atlantic Division this show. Top of the show, though, make sure you are subscribed to the Hockey Gambling Podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, YouTube as well. And make sure you support Hurricane Helene. SGPN is teaming up with a local charity, mountainprojects.org, to give back. The biggest donation will get a guest spot on the College Football Pick Show and a ton of gear. Go to mountainprojects.org and hit flood support to help out today. All right, speaking of weather, we're just going to go right into the Lightning here. Tampa Bay Lightning are the fourth team in the Atlantic here.
Yeah, the Lightning... their season started ominously before the season even started, really. When it was known that Vasilevsky had surgery in Russia and would be missing some time, but he didn't miss as much time as expected. And when he came back, he played a little bit better than he did the year before. Not his old elite self, but still fairly well. And yeah, they were never really threatening for the division or anything. They were at times they were kind of being threatened to miss the playoffs, but no, they caught their stride later on in the season. Finished fairly strong, and yeah, and in the playoffs they ran into the juggernaut that are the Florida Panthers. The little brother has become the big brother there in the Sunshine State. Yeah, like that Lightning are. I think they went over their closing point total, but the opening point total before the Vasilevsky news hit, that one hit for us by like a point or two. So that was nice. Yeah, the Lightning are a dying dynasty, I would say, but they still have tons of life because of guys like Nikita Kucherov, who would have won the Hart most years if it weren't for McKinnon having an maybe not even equally excellent. Kucherov probably was a little bit better, but McKinnon, of course, has the Career Achievement Award going for him. So, yeah, Kucherov had a terrific year. Lightning had a ridiculous power play. It was over 28% in the regular season. Better than the Oilers. It was the best in the league, actually. And, yeah, Lightning were a solid team, but ultimately they fell short because of the real best team in the East there than the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, last year, kind of a success for the Lightning, all things considered. But I mean, at this point in their dynasty, if you want to call them that, if they don't win the cup or at least get close to the cup, it's probably a failure for the Lightning and their fans. But yeah, I mean, you said it. Their power play, elite, top of the league, penalty kill, top 5. Vasilevsky was better than we thought, but still just a 900 save percentage there.
The door. Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead. And yeah, Nikita Kucherov had a great season last year, 44 goals, 100 assists for 144 points. Won the Art Ross, second in the Hart voting. Maybe he would have won the Hart if he wasn't Russian or if he wasn't hot dogging it up at the All-Star game skills competition. But yeah, Nathan MacKinnon got that one for him. Braden Point, 90 points. Stamkos, 40 goals, 81 points in his final year there with the Lightning. Victor Hedman kind of had a bounce back year, 76 points in 78 games for Tampa Bay after just 49 in the year before. So, I mean, they're getting up there in age, but they have the core, and they're going to keep going for it here with Kucherov, Point, Hedman, Vasilevsky, whenever they have those guys. Even with their depth guys kind of falling off. Brandon Hagel was very impressive last year with 75 points. So they still got that core. The depth pieces can show up here and there. Some good trade deadline additions of Anthony Duclair had 15 points in 17 games. Dumba saw some life there as well. So all things considered, a decent year for the Lightning, I guess. But like I said, unless they win the cup, it's probably not a success.
Exactly. Yeah, good to be back. Yeah, let's just go into their offseason. The main trade or the main acquisition was getting Jake Gensel in free agency. They also got Ryan McDonagh back after he had a strong year with the Predators, but they did lose a few key pieces, namely their captain, Steven Stamkos. I think Victor Hedman is now the captain. They lost also D'Anthony Duclair. Like you were saying, he's a trade deadline guy. Tanner Jeannot, strong two-way player, very physical, versatile, and Mikhail Sergachev, who broke his leg famously last year and came back very quickly and actually played in the playoffs when we all thought that he was done for the year. So yeah, they gained a lot there. They got a Cam Atkinson as well, another depth guy, Zemgus Girgensons, but main trades or main deals were the Jake Gensel and Ryan McDonagh, getting those guys in the fold, and of course losing Stamkos and Sergachev. We'll see how their culture can take that. Stamkos is a big locker room guy and all that. So yeah, this is an interesting one. I think they got a little younger, at least with Jake Gensel instead of Stamkos, but then again, they got a little older with Ryan McDonagh instead of Mikhail Sergachev. So I guess it's a B, considering they probably financially it worked out financially because of them. They didn't have to pay Stamkos. So yeah, we'll give the Lightning here a B.
Yes, I mean, solid offseason for them, considering where they were at with the cap space. Cam Atkinson, a good cheap depth signing that they're trying to play on the second line. Maybe he can, score 20 goals there if he plays with the right players. But yeah, getting rid of Jeannot after trading so much for him. They got like a second round pick plus back. Replacing Stamkos with Gensel, I think is a bit of a downgrade, even though Stamkos is a bit older. You're losing some of that leadership, losing some of the, just raw goal scoring and point totals as well. And yeah, Sergachev was, people were talking about him potentially taking over Hedman's spot as like the Norris trophy candidate there. So getting McDonagh back, sure, knows the system, but he's a lot older now. So yeah, just a decent job though by the GM down there. So yeah, I'd give him a solid B for the offseason.
Brady Oliveira, baby, walks it in. Our 60-1 ticket for the MLP. He could be a favorite after this game. We'll see. Anyway, moving on to the 2024 season for the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's I think it's going to be more of the same. I mean, same coach. It's just a matter of the the culture that I was talking about with Steven Stamkos leaving and Victor Hedman and stuff. I'm sure that there's enough veteran guys in there that they'll stick around. Like even during the preseason, I saw weren't they like responding to a hit like they usually do? Like they ganged up on somebody who dared to threaten. Somebody knocked over Hedman. That's what it was, and then the rest of the Lightning just like crushed that guy, whoever it was, some plug. So yeah, I don't think that there'll be a huge culture change here, even without the guy who's been there for so long and Steven Stamkos. I think that'll be more of the same. I really don't think that they'll have a 28% power play again. That is absurd, especially without Steven Stamkos there. But I mean, Jake Gensel coming in there, he doesn't have quite the same pedigree, but I think that he is a legitimate scorer as well. We'll see how he fares down there. Probably playing with Kucherov, I would imagine. Him just feeding him there on the wing. This year, oh man, where are my numbers? I don't have my numbers up, but I should say the odds to begin with. 98.5 for the point total, minus 225 to make the playoffs, plus 185 for the no, and then 5-1 for the division. I have bet absolutely nothing positively or negatively about the Lightning. I could tell you that my number is right around 99 there.
Your number that you shared in the group chat is at a 98 point projection. So
98,
right on the mark there with the,
98 even. Okay,
with the number there.
Yeah. So I've got nothing here for you. I think that they'll be probably the fourth team in the Atlantic there, and I expect a very similar season to last year, and we'll see if Vasilevsky can maybe rebound a little bit, because he's had a couple years where he hasn't been the number one goalie in the league like he was in the past.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. I think that's the big thing for the Lightning, is getting Vasilevsky back to, even just not vintage Vasilevsky, but just like a decent goalie. Like last year, coming off the back surgery, save percentage of 900 was the lowest in his career. Career save percentage is 917, 915, 916 the prior 2 years, while starting 60 or more games. So I think that's the big key for the Lightning, as it is for every team, is goaltending. But when you have Vasilevsky and then Jonas Johansson, I mean, it's a pretty big downgrade. Jonas Johansson making nice career out of being a backup on good teams there with the Avs and now with the Lightning. But yeah, I don't love Cam Atkinson on that second line with Brandon Hagel and Anthony Cirelli. Hagel had a career year last year. I don't know if he can keep that up. I know Connor Geekie, is that the Geekie they have down there? They got him from Seattle. He was the one that left the bench apparently to go fight. So he has a suspension coming for him. But
isn't he suspended for one preseason game?
something dumb like that.
What's the point?
Yeah, and then looking at the defensive pairings, you got Hedman and JJ Moser as the top pair, McDonough, Cernak as the second pair, then Radish, Perbix as the third pair. Like, it's fine as long as Hedman can stay healthy. If I had to make a bet here on the Lightning, it'd probably be to make the playoffs minus 225. I know you can find better than that, but I tried to put the consensus odds here. Let me see what you can get for them. You can get minus 215 is the best odds out there at Bet Rivers. So that's probably what I would take. I think they're firmly the fourth best team in this division. They're ahead of all the teams we talked about already, but I think they also are the team at risk of falling off to either Ottawa or Detroit or Buffalo or Montreal, stepping it up in this year or in the coming years. But I think minus 215, minus 225 is a safe enough price for the Lightning here to make the playoffs. They have John Cooper, they have Vasilevsky, still have Hedman, Point, Kucherov. I think Gensel will, maybe take some time to adjust, but I still like this Lightning team at minus 225. I think it should be a bit higher than that. And I don't hate Vasilevsky 14-1 for Vezina. I don't know if he can ever get back to that level again, but I think if he gets back to 915, 917 save percentage, he'll have some of the narrative of coming back from an injury, carrying this team. So I could see that coming down over the course of the year.
Maybe Eileen missed the playoffs, if anything, just because it's so clustered, and I don't know, minus 200, whatever, is just too steep of a price to pay. But like I said, I haven't bet shit with the Lightning.
Yeah. All right. We're brought to you by Underdog. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports: NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, NHL, and more. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boosts, and you can now use specials and boosts on all flexed entries. Sign up with promo code HGP to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code HGP. All right, going to go up north here, up the East Coast, up to Boston. What do you got for the Boston at the Gardens?
Well, the story was obviously losing Krejci again, and of course Patrice Bergeron to the retirement, and they were going with Pavel Zacha and Charlie Coyle for their 1-2 punch down the middle, and everyone thought, oh, they're not going to be able to survive this, but lo and behold, like the Bruins find a way. Like their culture is able to sustain these kind of things, and both those guys elevated their play. You know, obviously not to the level of Bergeron and Krejci, but good enough to at least carry the team to a very solid record. They were in line to win the division, but they wanted to play the Toronto Maple Leafs, so they let the Panthers win the division, so the Bruins could play the Leafs there, and things went as expected. Game 7 overtime, of course, with David Pastrnak scoring that goal after being called up by the coach. It's poetic stuff. But yeah, this team were faded, I guess, in general, not by me, but in general, they were a team looked down upon, and they surprised, I would say, because you lose Bergeron and Krejci, you'd think that they're going to take a step back, and obviously they took a step back because they had a historical 135 point season the year before, but still they were 112, 113 points, something like that, easily crushed their point total, and like I said, just a point or two back winning the division. And yeah, I think that's, considering the losses they sustained, and that's an excellent season. Swayman, I think, would have won the Vezina most years. He was terrific. He carried the team a lot. Like when they weren't playing well, he was stepping up. Allmark, of course, did his thing as a backup. Excellent tandem in net there. Mason Lohrei showed up in the playoffs. That's a good sign for them going forward because they don't have a ton of prospects. And yeah, I think that sums up the Bruins season more or less. Pastrnak, of course, ripped in the net. He had a ton of goals. So yeah, I would still call it a success, making it. They beat the Leafs again. That's got to count for something, even though they didn't win the Stanley Cup. And I do think that they're a contender. I think considering the losses of Bergeron and Krejci and Marchand too at the beginning of the year, because he had that hip surgery or something, and he came back very quickly, much sooner than expected. So yeah, I would say it's a success.
Yeah, I think knocking out the Leafs in heartbreaking fashion in Game 7 overtime would be a success for many Bruins fans out there. Pastrnak, 110 points. He really carried the team, though. Marchand, only 67 points. Coyle, 60. Zacha stepped up with 59. Matt Patra, I thought he played more games. He only played 33. I guess he had a few injuries there. 15 points. That was a surprise.
He had a good start. Everyone was like, oh, Patra for Calder.
Yeah, he had a good start. They kept him up for the full season after burning the entry level, and he was decent there. Yeah, and yeah, Coyle stepped it up for them. It's just like the Bruins culture. I faded them last year, or I didn't really like their chances going into it, and they proved me wrong. 109 points. Over under was at 101.5, so they cleared that. Great goalie tandem in net, as you mentioned, Swayman and Allmark being able to split pretty much down the middle, 43-39, save percentage 916, 915. So that was good by them. But expect advanced numbers, 18th best expected goals, 4%. I thought it would be better than that, but it just seems like they always play above their level. They're kind of the anti-Hurricanes in that way. Like they're going to be in the middle of the pack, but they're going to grind out wins. They're going to get the wins that other teams don't. So
even in their 135 point season, they weren't top 5 in like those analytical numbers. So it's just the way they play.
Yeah, they're tough to play against. They're great defensively. Like they may be allowing a lot of shots, but they're probably from the outside with McAvoy and Lindholm and Carlo back there and Zadorov now. So yeah, a good season for the Bruins, and interested to see what happens now.
Yeah, their offseason kind of active, I would say. Especially these days, considering they still can't get Jeremy Swayman signed, which is a massive problem, I would say, because going into the season with Korpisalo and Yuri Patera is not ideal, especially considering how they relied on their goaltending last year. Losing both Allmark and Swayman would not be good. So we'll see what transpires there. So yeah, I guess we have to give him an incomplete grade until that's done. But for now, adding Lindholm, they finally get a guy who's been a number one center before. He did not have the best start with the Canucks, but he played very well in the playoffs for them. Actually, he was kind of hurt when he was traded. There's some Vancouver fans thinking that the Flames fucked the Canucks over by sending him an injured player, but he turned out okay. Nikita Zadorov, of course, another Big Z, right? Chara was called Big Z. Nikita Zadorov is Big Z, and they play similarly. Both have pronounced personalities, very loud, funny guys. And yeah, but they did lose a key guy in Jake DeBrusk to the Canucks, and Danton Heinen to the Canucks. Matt Grzelcyk, I don't know where he went. Capitals, was it? And
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you might be right. And Derek Forbert, he's not listed here, but I know they lost him as well to the Canucks. And yeah, Linus Ullmark as well. So yeah, getting Lindholm in there, they finally get their number one center. And Zadorov, I think they altogether outweigh the losses there of DeBrusk and the like. So, like I said, incomplete grade till the signing of Swayman. If they lose Swayman, it's got to be he's got to ask for like something astronomical. There's nothing that Bruins can do, but I think he's worth like 8.25 or 8.4, something like that. If it's more than that, I can understand them just passing on him, trading him. But if it's around that number, I don't know why they don't just sign him, because they're in a win now mode with a lot of these guys in their prime and towards the end of their prime, and without their number one goalie, it's going to be tough to make the most out of that. So incomplete grade for now. We'll see what happens with Swayman.
Yeah, I mean, everything they've done so far, because you still have that Swayman cloud hanging over that. I don't think it's fair to call it incomplete, because this season has started and they're less than a week away from playing actual games, so that does kind of leave a mark on them. But yeah, you summed it up nicely. They got Lindholm in there essentially in a trade for DeBrusk and Heinen, and I think that's a trade that they would make, getting a top line center for DeBrusk, probably a second line winger, Heinen a bottom six winger. That's a trade they'll make. Zadorov is better than Grzelcyk, I think, especially in the Bruins system. I could see that. Grzelcyk maybe a bit underrated by me.
He's terrible in the playoffs. Every year he sucks in the playoffs. He's not built for it. So Zadorov elevates his game in the playoffs. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and he fits right there in the back end there. But yeah, so forward they improved, defense about the same, maybe improved a little bit. But in net, I mean, the Ullmark Korpisalo trade would look good if they sign Swayman. And apparently one of the first offers to Swayman, or what Swayman wanted, was the McAvoy contract, which is $9.5 million for 8 years, which I think the goalie market nowadays is wild. But like, when you have someone like Swayman, that he hasn't proven that he can.
He played like 45 games.
That's not his fault, though. He showed up. He showed up in the playoffs.
Like, ask for fewer years then, or something to show you can do it, and then ask for big money.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I feel like other teams would give it to him, and the Bruins just played their cards horribly. Like they traded Ullmark without having anything lined up with Swayman. Swayman apparently didn't like how arbitration went last year, so he already has a sour taste in his mouth. And he was the guy in the playoffs: .933 save percentage, 2.15 goals against average. He kept them in the series against the Panthers. He just did. They were not scoring goals at all. Even in that first series, Pastrnak got called out because they weren't scoring. So he's a big part of that team. I think they have to get him signed. I think they will, but it's just a matter of how long that's going to take and how long it'll take for him to get up into game shape. I can't imagine it'll be too long, because it's not the 90s anymore where guys are just having beers and smoking darts in the offseason. He's training. He'll be ready. So yeah, a decent offseason for the Bruins. Probably give them a C+, move it up to a B- once they get Swayman signed.
Yeah, Frank Saravelli was saying it's closer than what people think, the signing. So I think it's likelier to get done than not. And yeah, I just don't trust goalies, so I don't want to give them all that term without having a bigger sample size. But anyway, going forward, yeah, I mean, we pretty much covered it. Like the Swayman thing is pivotal. We don't really know. Like, I'm high on this team in general. I bet their win total over or point total over. I project them at 102.7, and they are sitting at 99.5 here. -205 to make the playoffs, +180 to miss, and 5-1 for the division. I bet them a big number for division. I think it was +750 early on. But even 5-1, I would like that if Swayman is around. But right now, it's in flux because I don't want to go to war with Korpisalo and Yuri Patera. I mean, maybe they get somebody in a trade with the Swayman deal, but as of now, it's too tough to call. So I would just sit back and wait. These odds aren't going to move too much. Just get on it when Swayman signs or is traded, or if you want to fade the Bruins. But for now, it'll be interesting to see how Lindholm comes in there. See, I expect him to do well. He fits the mold of a Bergeron type. It's like a minor Selke candidate, I would say. And Zadorov, of course, provides some offense and physicality, which they need. I think the Bruins are getting a little bit small considering their history. And Zadorov finally brings some size into the room. I expect it to be very, maybe not as good as a season as last year. I think that they did outperform a little bit, but I think they will get 100 points, as long as the Swayman is around. So love the over on the point total. Love them to make the playoffs there, minus 205. I think they're a better team than the Lightning and the Leafs even. So, I do think that they would, push for the division, even considering the wear and tear on the Florida Panthers after making 2 Stanley Cup finals. So, I love the Bruins, but again, just it's in flux right now with the Swayman thing determined.
Yeah, I am buying into the Bruins this year. I didn't last year, but a low point total here. They just have to get to 100. I was looking back at their most recent seasons. They've gotten 100 points or would be on pace for that in the shortened 2021 season. Since like 2016, 2017, they had 90 something. So this is a team that's going to get it done because they're a better team. Like you said it, they're a better team than the Leafs. They're a better team than the Lightning. It's just that Swayman issue. And I think they're going to come out strong, playing strong defense. Korpisalo can, hold his own in there. Brendan Bussey might be up there as the backup. They might try to go a 1-2 tandem with those guys. He had solid numbers in the AHL past 2 years. Even 3 years ago when he was there for 5 games, he had a .920 save percentage. He's looked decent in the preseason as well. So I think Swayman's going to lose some leverage there. He'll eventually get signed. This Bruins team, they finally got Lindholm. They have Coyle at a second line center now. They have Patra as their third line center. They can split up Marchand and Pasternak. They have Zacha on the wing now. So I think the Bruins here are definitely underrated. Minus 200, minus 205 to make the playoffs. I love that bet. 100 plus points. I think they get there pretty easily. I might go 110 plus points, depending what that is at in the alt point total market there. I think 5-1 for the division. It has definitely come down, like you said, but I think it's might be worth a stab at that because I think they're one of the best teams overall. And I'm seeing here 20-1 for the President's Trophy, which I think is a bit long. Or you can get 8-1 for top seed in the East if you don't have to worry about the Oilers. But I think 20-1 for the President's Trophy for a team that 2 years ago had a historic season could get back there again.
Yeah, I have a nice number on that one as well. And of course, this is the team that I've been backing pretty much every year to win the Stanley Cup. I think that they probably deserve more than one in the Bergeron career. But anyway, so spilled milk now. I did bet him again, 22-1, 25-1 to make or to win the Stanley Cup because I think this team is built for that kind of thing. This team is built for the playoffs. So I like that as well, as long as, get Swayman in there. And then finally, a couple of awards just to Norris bets. I got Lindholm at 250-1. And I think he got some votes a couple years back anyway when he was terrific. They were with Boston. And McAvoy at 50-1 because, I think that he's one of the best defensemen in the league, and that's just a little bit too long, even though, of course, he'll be beat by Makar.
Yeah, I think I was on one of them. I think I was on Lindholm, and you said like McAvoy or vice versa, and then we just both ended up betting both.
You said McAvoy first. I said Lindholm first.
Yeah, because I was like McAvoy 51. You were like Lindholm 251. I'm like, all right, I'll throw a few bucks down on that. You can still get Bruins 25-1 for the Cup at Caesars. 20-1 is the next best at a few books, as short as 18-1. So I do like that look. Also, potentially look for them to maybe, their odds to dip a bit early on if Swayman is not signed, and then try to buy that dip early. But I don't know if it's going to dip too much more than what it's already at.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, we are brought to you by Rhythm. It's the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds, get predictions for betting on money line spreads, totals, and props. You can build your own model, copy one, or they can build one for you. Rhythm has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. We're brought to you by BetUS. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. Sign up and deposit $100, and you have a chance to win a 1960 Ford Mustang. Use our link to sign up and get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. Promo code SGPN. All right, now we're going north of the border for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, well, we mentioned it before. I mean, it's just another season for the Leafs. First round exit to the Boston Bruins. Game 7 overtime. Yeah, it's I mean, like the Leafs fan bases, they always just look to the playoffs because they don't give a shit about the regular season because they know it's just all about getting past the first round or even the second. They did make it to the second round the year before falling to the mighty Panthers. But last season it's just regular season success doesn't mean much. Although Marner nearly got his 100 points finally. I think he missed some games toward the end of the year. Otherwise, he would have got it easily. Austin Matthews, of course, was a big story, trying to get to 70 goals for the first time since Teemu Selanne, I think, in the early 90s. And of course, he fell 1 goal short, was it? Or was it 2?
One goal short. He has 69,
yeah, he had like 13 shots in the last game of the season and couldn't get it done. So like his heart case was tied to getting 70. He would have got a lot more support if he just got that 1 more goal. Just for the magic number. The Leafs said, of course it's a disappointing season. You have a good regular season, then you just flop in the first round. I thought that they were I thought Matthews actually played very well when he was healthy in the playoffs. Like his first game, or it was the second game, he had a terrific game, but then he got hurt and missed a couple games, and he missed the rest of the series actually because they were flirting with him coming back, but it was nebulous. So and then Joseph Wall also got hurt in that round, so they had to go with Samsonov, who played well enough to win, I guess, but just a terrible mistake. I can't remember who it was on the Bruins series winning goal. And Samsonov actually, no, maybe he is the reason because he just stayed in the net instead of running up to get the puck. I remember that goal pretty clearly now. So it's disappointing season. I don't know else. There's not much else to it. Like you'd think one of these times they can at least win the division. Like they have all these great regular seasons, but they always finish like second or third, so they keep having to play Boston or Tampa. If you win the division, boys, you could play the likes of Washington or something. Just another pathetic end to another disappointing, unsuccessful season.
Yeah, not much to add there. Definitely a failure of a season. Could not get out of the first round. Did not even go over their point total. 105.5. They got 102 points. Finished third in the division. So didn't even have home ice advantage in the first round, which maybe it would have been key in a game 7 there against Boston up there in Toronto. But yeah, I mean Matthews, fantastic season. Fourth place for the Hart. Nylander had a great year. He seems to be just kind of flying under the radar up there. Like Matthews gets all the attention for the goal scoring. Marner gets all the extra shit for who knows why, because he's a big Leafs fan his whole life. Tavares, he's getting a little bit over the hill now, but he still put up 65 points. Yeah, just that was it though. The core 4 led the way. Morgan Riley and then Domi, Bertuzzi, and Matthew Nyes were kind of just middling there. Nicholas Robertson, another season of not a lot of opportunity, not a lot of goals, for 14 goals, 56 games. Their goaltending was awful. Samsonov, 890 save percentage. Joseph Wall, 907. And Martin Jones, 902. Martin Jones was better than Samsonov last year. I forgot about the injuries in the playoffs because Matthews was hurt. Nylander was out a few games. Maybe if they're healthy that they get past it. But Coulda, shoulda, woulda there. Did not do it. So just another classic failure of a Leafs season with a first-round exit.
Yeah, and their offseason, of course, highlighted by the departure of Sheldon Keefe. Now they're bringing in Chris Berube. I think is it Chris Berube? Craig Berube.
Craig
yeah, who I think is an upgrade and I think possibly like a culture shock for this team who have been kind of coddled. So we'll see how his more hard-nosed way translates. Babcock tried the same thing and was ultimately unsuccessful. We'll see if Berube can do better. He also brought in they really tried to address the defense here with Chris Tanev, Oliver Ekman-Larsson to provide some offense. Tanev, of course, for his shot blocking and excellent defensive play, although he's getting up there in age. It's kind of long in the he's long in the tooth. Maybe just a trade that was made too late, or a signing that was made too late, rather. And they lost Tyler Bertuzzi, TJ Brody, who had a terrible year last year, so that's probably addition by subtraction. He's probably over the hill. And Ilya Samsonov. They also brought in Anthony Stolarz, so that's a healthy addition, I think, because he's one of the better backups in the league. He's been playing like that. He was awesome with the Panthers last year, great with the Ducks as well. So maybe they solidify some goaltending because Joseph Woll just can't seem to stay healthy. He's got a lot of talent. Like a lot of the goalie nerds love his technique and whatever, but he just struggles to stay healthy. So Anthony Stolarz is a great backup to have for that. So I kind of like the Maple Leafs offseason. Bringing in Craig Berube, Tanev, OEL after a good year with the Panthers, great backup, and Tyler Bertuzzi is a loss, but he wasn't exactly consistent for the whole year long. And TJ Brody, he sucked. So it's addition by subtraction, like I said. So I like the Leafs offseason here with second year GM Brad Treliving. So we'll give it a A-, B+.
Yeah, a good off season for the Leafs. Getting Tanev a bit too late. Should have got him at the deadline. If they got him at the deadline for the playoff run, maybe that's a different series there against the Bruins. But bringing him in, even if it was possibly an overpay, what do you get? You got $4.5 million per year. I guess that's not really as much as I thought he would get. So that's a decent deal. $3.5 million for OEL after he had a good year with Florida. Yeah, I don't mind them losing Bertuzzi because they didn't need to pay him again. They still have Domi there, kind of in the same mold. Matthew Nyes is a year older, maybe give Robertson. Bobby McMahon was a guy that kind of came onto the scene last year. TJ Brody, don't mind seeing him go, and I do like the Anthony Stolarz signing as well. He hasn't really played a ton of games. His most games started was 24 last year. Great with the Panthers, so I would expect the Leafs to want him to play probably closer to 30, 35, maybe an even split with Joseph Woll. But if Woll can stay healthy and if he can do what everyone thinks he can do, what he's shown he can do in smaller sample sizes, I think that's a great goalie tandem, even if it's like a 50-30 type of split there for the starts. So, and then one more signing that's not on this list is Max Pacioretty. They brought him in on a PTO. Looks like he's going to definitely sign a contract. Good option for either third line or move up to the second line and drop Domi down, potentially a power play piece as well. He's had a few Achilles injuries now, surgeries, so not quite what he once was, but he could put up 15 goals and play in the right role for the Leafs there. So good offseason by the Leafs. It's just a matter of putting it together now in the regular season and the playoffs. And of course, bringing in Chief is huge. Like a few weeks ago, I forgot he was their coach, and I read Berube said this about the Leafs. Like, why is he talking about the Leafs? Like, all right, he's their fucking coach. That makes sense now. So, good offseason for the Leafs. Definitely necessary, especially going into contract years for both Tavares and Marner.
Indeed, protecting forward, the Leafs have a point total of 102.5, minus 350 to make the playoffs, 3-1 to miss, plus 270 for the division, and 12-1 to win the President's Trophy. The cup odds are around 15-1 or so. No, thank you. Just wanted to bring that up. Just quick there.
You're not betting the Leafs to win the cup?
Yeah. I'd rather bet the fucking Ottawa Senators. No, I don't. No, I wouldn't. All right. So it's it's going to be interesting. I think that they take the regular season a little bit more seriously now with the new coach. Like, he wants to get off to a good start there, and I think the players have something to prove playing for a new coach. So I think that they play better this regular season. I haven't touched them myself in terms of betting positively or negatively, but I do think that they are likelier to go over this than not. Although my number is in that only 100.8, so I don't know. It's in terms of sheer power rating, I don't think so, but I think with the new coach in there, firing him up probably gets the most out of the guys, and likely to go over than not, but not something I can really recommend because I haven't bet it myself. So yeah, and that's going to be the big thing. Like, how did this team respond to Berube? I know he plays a more north-south style, dump and chase stuff that they have been playing, basically since the Marner Matthew years began. So we'll see how that goes. I'm sure he's not going to ask them to do the dumping and chasing so much, but the rest of the team will have to follow suit. So that'll be an interesting dynamic to follow. Of course, you mentioned Nick Robinson before. Every year, there's some fucking guy in the preseason who goes off for the Leafs, and all of a sudden he's the next great thing. I think it was Fraser Minton last year, and Easton Cohen possibly, and now it's Nick Robertson. He's back. Like, this is a former first-round pick. They've been waiting for him to break out, and now because he scored some goals in the preseason, they think that he's there. He's gonna be like his brother. The Toronto hype is untouched. So just look out for that. I don't expect him to be a top 6 guy, but we'll see. I've been wrong before, but yeah, this season I think will be more like the others. We're 102.5, 4 points down from the last season, or 3 points for your number there. I think that this team are a little bit better. I like the blue line a little bit better with Tanev and then OEL instead of Lyubushkin and who else did they lose? I don't know. Oh, Brody. Yeah. So the blue line is better. That's important, but they still don't have a number 1 D-man. Like, Morgan Riley's fine offensively, but he's not good enough to be a number 1 D-man, I don't think so. Yeah, haven't bet this team at all. So yeah, I think it'll just be more of the same.
Yeah, if I had to go one way on this team, I would probably go with the over. Maybe 110 points is plus 210. I could see Berube getting a few extra points out of them, more than last season. 2 years ago, I think they had 111 points, and these guys are a little bit older, but could be a similarly talented bunch with better coaching, potentially similar. I mean, better goaltending from last year, as long as Stolarz can hold up over the course of the season, playing 30, 40 games if he has to. But I can't take plus 270 for the division, especially after we both just talked up the Bruins there for a little bit, and we're going to get to the Panthers after this. I don't think they're good enough to get the President's Trophy either at 12-1. So, yeah, if anything, I would take them 110 points at plus 210. Maybe use them to make the playoffs as a parlay piece, minus 350. I can't see them missing the playoffs in Craig Berube's first year. So, over 102.5 or 110 points plus for plus 210. But I also haven't bet anything here on Toronto.
All right. Do you have an ad or last team?
No, that's it. Last but not least, the reigning Stanley Cup champions.
That's fucking right. Our boys, the Florida Panthers. Obviously, they won the Stanley Cup, so they are really the only team to have a successful season. Sorry, I've had this fucking cough, man. But yeah, obviously, this team came out of the gates hot. Like, we faded them at the beginning of the year, to be honest, because we thought that, missing Ekblad, missing Montour, they didn't miss a beat. Like, OEL came in. Like, I watched this guy play for 2-3 years in Vancouver, and he fucking sucked. He couldn't skate. Now all of a sudden he goes to Florida, and he's like the old Arizona Coyote OEL. He was great stepping in there while they were injured, and they like, this team just had a real strong culture. Like Paul Maurice has got these guys going. Like, like, I think he got the most out of those Jets teams. They just always fell short for whatever reason, but he finally found the right group of guys here in the Florida Panthers. Of course, Barkov won the Selke, right? That's not an award you could bet, really, so it's not something I'm clued into. But yes, Barkov won the Selke, as he should. He's the heir apparent to Patrice Bergeron. Bobrovsky was in the running to win the Vezina. I think he finished second or third in voting. I remember we made a late push from it, a big number, but unfortunately couldn't get that home, even though they did finish with a better record than the Winnipeg Jets. We're thinking that the GMs just love wins, so this goalie is good and he has more wins than that goalie, and it didn't work out, but that's okay. Just crushed the Lightning in the first round. I think it was a 5-game series. They were 3-0, and then won it in game 5. Bruins, they outclassed them. You were saying before Swayman was keeping a minute. I think the Panthers were the best team in that series outside of one game. Maybe the first game, I think the Bruins were really good when we all expected them to be, coming off that high from the win against the Leafs, but they surprised them all. And they won there in Florida. They took care of business against the Rangers, kind of made it scary against the Oilers. Like they're 3-0 in the series. They have to win it 2-1 in Game 7, and of course did not even get the Conn Smythe winner. Unfortunately for me, would have been so good if it was Barkov. But anyway, McDavid will do. This team were great. They fit the profile of a Stanley Cup winning team. They played excellent 5-on-5. They limited off the rush chances. They had strong goaltending. They have a number 1 D. They have a number 1 center. Gus Forsling, of course, he won some Norris love when they made it from the analytical guys. But he's really turned his career around. And I would say he's definitely deserving to be called a number 1 D. Yeah, so love the Panthers here this last season. It's a hell of a ride, and hopefully we can run it back. Not with the Panthers, though. But another team.
Yeah, won the division, won the cup, had 110 points when their point total was 98.5 here. So successful season in all the definitions of the word there. I mean, I think the one thing that held up Bobrovsky from getting more Vezina votes was probably the fact that Stolarz had a higher save percentage than him by 10 points, and obviously less than half the amount of stars. But still, if your backup is outplaying you, then maybe you probably couldn't get the Vezina, but still came in third. But Panthers were just a team of depth. Sam Reinhart, contract year, 57 goals. Kachuk, Barkov, for Hagee, obviously, but they had 10 guys score at least 10 goals. Had 10 guys with 32 or more points, and they had the guys down in the lineup that weren't scoring goals or getting points, playing hockey the right way, playing Florida Panthers hockey. Of course, your boy Paul Maurice got the job done there, lifting the cup finally. So just a success all around for the Panthers, which I don't know if we can say that about their offseason.
I don't know about that. I think it was relatively successful considering they won the Stanley Cup. So, guys are going to be asking for more money. They locked up Sam Reinhart to a team-friendly deal. I mean, all these deals are team-friendly because they're tax-free there in Florida. Anton Lundell as well. Dmitry Kulikov gets his extension. I mean, they didn't add much. Jesper Blomqvist, Thomas Nosek, just some depth forwards. And they did, of course, lose Brandon Montour, OEL, and, of course, the Anthony Stolarz to the Leafs there. Ryan Lomberg, too. And then was it Nick Cousins? Which Cousins is it?
Yeah,
Nick Cousins. But I mean, considering they got the Reinhart deal done, I think that was less than people were expecting. And you have to factor in when a team wins the Stanley Cup, their players going to be asking for more money. So you got to, trim the edges. And so that's what they had to do. They're losing Montour and OEL. So there definitely is a loss there on the back end. But overall, I think it's at least a B, I think, considering the Reinhart and Lundell signings are pretty team friendly. And just you can't keep everyone.
Yeah, just looking at the key players added, key players lost. Added Boquist, Nosek, lost Lomberg, Montour, OEL, Stolarz, Cousins, all those guys. Yeah, it looks worse than it probably was because I forgot about the extension for Anton Lundell. I forget if that was in the offseason or last season. I think it was the offseason. If you got him locked up, $5 million cap hit for 6 years. I think he's 23. It looks like he's going to be Barkov light there as a shutdown center on the second line or third line there for the Panthers. I guess they're back up now. Spencer Knight. We'll see how he can hold up for an entire season. Not sure who their third string there would be. Yeah, I just think losing Montour is going to hurt them a lot. I know he had kind of a down year last year after a breakout season the year before. Didn't really replace him with anybody. I guess Adam Boquist from the Devils. I forget where he was before, but yeah, I mean, coming off winning the cup, no one else would have been able to sign Sam Reinhart to that contract. Good contract for Anton Lundell. So better than I thought, but still probably like a B minus C plus just because of the guys they lost. Are you muted or can I?
Anytime it's one of those Swedes with the strange names, I always assume it's from a Columbus, like Bjorkstrand and then whatnot. Like they seem to collect those types. Now they're out to the Russians, apparently. Anyway, where are we going? We're projected forward here. Panthers, their number is 102.5 in market, plus 230 to win the division. They are the favorites, and 10-1 to win the President's Trophy, which is kind of short. So this is another team we have not touched at all. I don't think that they repeat. It's of course extremely difficult, especially when you made the Stanley Cup final both of the previous seasons. That's a lot of wear and tear on your body. Paul Mercer was saying, "Oh, you guys are making too much out of that because our physicals are fine." I don't trust that. Yeah, because it's brutal. It's a grind getting through the playoffs. And surviving on the other side to do the same thing, like we were saying last year with the Golden Knights. Like it's hard to climb the mountain twice. You already done it once. You know how hard it is, and you lose desire to do it again. Like we were saying, like the teams rarely repeat. There's the Penguins, and there were the Lightning, Red Wings when they were dynasty, but that was before the salary cap era. And yeah, the Lightning one I think is an asterisk considering the COVID goofiness with the bubble, and then the next year with the Canadian division, they have to play the fucking Montreal Canadiens in the final. Yeah. So yeah, it's extremely hard to repeat. So I'm not diving into the Panthers again here. Although, I think they're the rightful favorite. I just think that the number is about right. So I'm looking to back the Bruins to oust them again, hoping that Swayman is around. So. Yeah, like this season, I think we'll Barkov, he's plus 130 or so to win the Selke, so he's clearly got the mark of respect, and he probably does win it again. But yeah, I mean, I did have some long shot award, but actually, it was Gustav Forsling, of course.
Yeah.
Do you have the Norris market up right now?
I'm going to pull it up now, but I was going to mention for the Selke, Sam Reinhart came in fourth last year. He's 35-1 for the Selke this year. If he somehow gets more credit than Barkov, or if they don't want to give
chance.
And it's really tough for a winger to win it too. It's usually a center. Like, has Mark Stone even won one? Because he's like the prototypical defensive winger out there. No. So it's always a center. Forsling currently 100-1, 125-1 for the Norris.
Yep, that's what I got. 125, 100-1. So that's another long shot for the Norris. Mm-hmm. Another loser to Makar.
Yeah, Makar or Hughes. It's like you need like those golf bets. Winner without Makar or Hughes. Like whoever finishes.
Right. Yeah, especially in the Selke.
Yeah.
Or the Art Rost.
Yeah, because McDavid's like minus 130, minus 150 for that.
Minus 180 on 365.
Oh, Jesus. But yeah, for me, for the Panthers, I like them again this year. But like Joel said, pretty accurately priced. I guess if anything, I would take the over on the points or another 110 plus points for them. But it is a question of health for me, especially with Bobrovsky in net, 2 long playoff runs, and they don't really have a trusted backup. I don't know if you can trust Spencer Knight, and their third goalie would be
Spencer Knight is the backup.
Whoa, Chris Drieger signed there as well, so I guess he might be the actual backup. With
you don't want Spencer Knight playing more than 4 games.
Yeah, Daily Faceoff has Spencer Knight, but on Puckpedia, non-roster goalie is Chris Drieger, who
actually Drieger was awful at the end of the year, but with Seattle too. So I don't think he's much better than Spencer Knight. Ugh.
They're just, I mean, but it's probably better for Knight to get full time in the AHL if he's waivers exempt. I don't know what he is. He is waivers exempt, so that's probably what they'll end up doing. But yeah, I'm on that Forsling bet as well for Norris. 100-1, 125 is still out there. Barkov, rightful favorite for the Selke, plus 175 is the best you can get at FanDuel compared to plus 120 at BetMGM. So decent pricing there. I mean, even 55 cents, but for a low price like that. Yeah, I don't really like them for President's Trophy 10-1. Don't think that's long enough. Don't think they can do that again after going back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals. And I think plus 230 is pretty accurate for the division. But I'll stick to my Bruins bet for the division for this one.
Yeah, I think it'll be a very similar season to the one the Knights had last year, although hopefully a little healthier, because the Knights got really banged up. And of course they won the Stanley Cup the year before, so maybe that'll happen to the Panthers here too.
Yeah, it very easily could. I was trying to see what they are to miss the playoffs, but I don't think 4-1 is nearly long enough for them to miss the playoffs.
Rather bet that than make the minus 600 or something.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you had to, I mean, plus 400. Oh, minus 440 to make on FanDuel, but 500 elsewhere. So, yeah. Okay. Anything else on the Panthers or any of these four teams, or I guess the East in general, or the league in general? Because that's all 32 teams. The season has started.
Yes, we are done. Thankfully. No, not really. I mean, if I had to, project the order here, it's going to be right in line with market, so nothing too interesting. I mean, I think the Canadians take a leap, but if they keep getting injured, it's not going to happen once again. But yeah, let's get this fucking party going. Tuesday, right?
Yeah, Tuesday is the triple header on ESPN. I saw Ray Ferraro is doing the first game at 4:30 in Seattle, and then he's flying to Utah for the 10 p.m. game. He's doing two games in one day, which is pretty crazy for him.
So, legend. Love that guy.
I mean, anytime we can get him on a broadcast, I enjoy it. So I'm glad to see him on there for two games there. Yeah, we'll probably be back on a Monday night previewing the triple header on Tuesday, maybe going over some of our favorite future bets and whatnot. I've been looking into some player prop markets for goals and assists. Obviously, Matt Mabishkov, take all of his overs before they go up. I remember his point total opened at 46.5. It's at 48.5 now at some books, and it's up as high as 52.5 at Bet Park. So that's going to bet up pretty good. His Calder odds are getting bet down. So get in while you still can. All right. Make sure you subscribe to the Hockey Gambling Podcast, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Leave us a 5-star rating and review for the new season. And follow us on Twitter at HockeySGPN. Get in the Discord, sg.pn/Discord. Go in the hockey channel there. Having a good time. I saw people were going off there today for the opener. So hopefully we get some good conversation in there this season. All right. Anything else before we close it out?
No, I'm good.
All right. I am Ryan Gilbert. You can follow me on Twitter at rgilbertsop.
And I'm Joel Meyer, and I guess you'll find me coughing.
See ya.